I would much rather be talking to my son, Kent, than talking about Kent. He was a sweet, gentle, very normal child. He liked dinosaurs when he was little. He liked to play outside. He liked to play Super Mario Brothers and Legos. He performed self-taught magic and card tricks at his younger cousin's birthday party. Kent would master the most complex puzzles and mazes. He had a keen sense for how things worked. He loved to read. He was a good student and a good friend. He was a Boy Scout, sang in a school choir, went to church camp, went on mission trips, and volunteered in the tech booth at church. Kent loved his family and enjoyed spending time with his aunt and uncle, grandparents, sister, and me, his mom. He began to change when he was a sophomore in high school, and I noticed that he became restless and spent more time in his room with the door closed. When he was 15, he called me the night before Thanksgiving and told me that he was out with some friends and wasn't coming home that night. He said he was fine and was calling because he didn't want me to worry. He hung up. I was frantic and spent part of the evening driving around and the other part calling every one of his friends to find him. I knew something was very, very wrong. Kent had always obeyed the rules. He came home about 6 a.m. and I was waiting for him. Life changed that day for us. He went to the doctor and was drug tested. After I learned the results, his computer time was restricted. He was not allowed to close his bedroom door, and his coming in and goings were strictly monitored. He did not want to be a drug addict, and after some time, it seemed like he had made it out. He seemed to get his dreams and goals back. He asked if he could go to a different high school in the fall because he wanted a clean start, and we found a charter school that suited him. It was the Christmas before Kent would turn 18. His dentist recommended that he have his wisdom teeth extracted, and as a normal routine, gave him a prescription for a painkiller to be used after his oral surgery. I had it filled and put it in the kitchen cabinet, but I noticed the bottle looked different a couple days later. With a pounding heart and a feeling of dread, I counted the pills and then confronted my son. After a while, he admitted to taking some. I was heartsick. I thought we'd made it out, and I felt so bad for unknowingly putting the drug right in front of him. I asked Kent why he wanted to take drugs, and the answer he gave was bone-chilling. He asked me to remember a time that I felt great, the best, when I had the memory come back to me the first time you get high. He said it's better than that. All you can think about is feeling that way again, only it's physically, chemically impossible. He then explained how brain chemicals are altered and why people take more, stronger drugs and increase their frequency trying to get back to the feeling of that first high. At 18, he moved into a house with a couple of other young adults. He was finishing his first year of college, had a great job, and was able to support himself. For the next 6 months, Kent enjoyed the freedom of being on his own. Then on Monday in September of 2003, I had a life-changing knock on my door. My heart dropped as I heard the words that my son, my handsome, sensitive, funny, talented, smart son, had died from an accidental prescription drug overdose. Kent and 2 other kids crushed up OxyContin and washed them down with beer. Kent got sleepy and told the other 2 kids he wanted to go to sleep, so they left. Kent went to sleep, and as he slept, the drug slowed his respiratory system down until it stopped completely. His roommate found him the next day, but he was already gone. I wish I had been better educated about drugs. I also wish his friends had been better educated and more aware of what was happening to Kent. Maybe Kent would be alive today, but he isn't. And I live with the pain every day. I'll never see him grow up, get married, or have children, and I'll never see him live his life and realize his dreams.
Our adolescent years are some of the most important years for growth and development. Many of the habits we make during these years will stick with us for the rest of our lives, including painkiller addictions. According to drugfree.org, 90% of prescription drug addictions start in the teenage years, which is worrisome news because another poll conducted by drugfree.org shows that 1 in 6 teenagers have taken a prescription drug. Heroin is the drug that addicts resort to when prescription pills become too expensive. We can see here that in just 10 years, heroin use in adolescents has increased by 109%. These rises in drug addictions have led to overdoses becoming one of the top killers in the U.S., above both vehicle accidents and firearms.
There are millions of people that abuse prescription drugs, and more than half of abused drugs are painkillers. Where teens obtain prescription drugs is disturbing. Over 70% claim to have obtained prescription drugs from a friend or relative, with the majority of those people getting them for free. Other places where teens get prescription drugs is from a doctor, from strangers or drug dealers, and even from the internet. Teens think it's okay to abuse prescription drugs because they're easy to take from a medicine cabinet, they're legal, they're prescribed by a doctor, and if they do get caught, they can claim that they have a prescription for the drug.
In an effort to reduce overdoses involving prescription opiate medications includes safeguarding houses that contain these medications, locking up pain medications, and proper disposal of the medications that are no longer needed for the intended use they were prescribed for, limits the access to them from others, which decreases the chances of misuse. Educating the youth is a critical component of any effort to curb the abuse of prescription medications. Awareness is being spread nationwide. For example, the NIDA is advancing in addiction awareness, prevention, and treatment in today's youth, as well as primary care practices. Parents communicating the risks associated with the use of prescription pain pills also have a huge impact on decreasing the risk of opiate misuse and overdose. In case of an overdose, naloxone or Narcan can be used. When a person is overdosing on an opioid, breathing can slow down or stop, and it can be very hard to wake them up from this state. Narcan is a prescription medicine that blocks the effects of opioids and reverses an overdose. With the assistance of this newly developed drug and the fact that it is now over the counter will help decrease future opioid overdoses.